This is a photo of our most recent discovery that we've made this year called the Roscobble deposit. We're working on the initial mineral resource estimate on it. We just released the last of the results of the drilling this year on that, 15 holes yesterday. I'm not going to inundate you with numbers, but the best hole that we released in the press release yesterday was 150 meters at 1.5 grams gold right from surface. So it's an exciting new discovery in addition to what we had before, and that's what's driven the stock up. Our management, board of directors, very long in the tooth, a lot of us, little gray hair, very technically focused exploration geologists, and that's been our success. We've been focused on discovery. That's what we've been making. We've discovered 3 deposits now on this project, so moving towards adding value to that and eventually seeing a mine in this neck of the woods. So that was my first forward-looking statements. I mentioned I'm a geologist, so I'll make a few more. As I said, we're focused on the Yukon, our RC Gold project, but we have other projects. We have Alpha Gold, that's in Nevada. It's in the Cortez Hills Trend. Carlin-style system, only 40 kilometers away from the Cortez Hills mines. We've drilled there in the past. We've hit interesting mineralization. These are kind of dormant right now, but very interesting properties. Burrow Creek in Arizona, that's on patented claims as well. We own the water rights. It's a historical gold-silver resource, 5 million ounces of silver. The math changed on that today with silver hitting $100. Kind of 1 gram of gold and an ounce of silver in a resource there, a historical resource, and copper mine up in Nunavut. But we're focused on the Yukon project. It's in the Tombstone Gold Belt. If you're not familiar with that, that's a belt of 90-million-year-old intrusions that stretch across Yukon, Alaska. First discovery was Fort Knox over in Alaska. People figured out that belt was offset by a huge fault, carried on into the Yukon. Or maybe it was offset and Fort Knox should be in the Yukon, not in Alaska, but that's life. Once Fort Knox was discovered in the late 80s, people came over, started looking in the Yukon. Robert Friedland actually, working mostly in the western part of the belt where access is great, discovered the Brewery Creek mine, the Dublin Gulch deposit, which is the Eagle mine now, currently for sale. Most recently, what really got people's attention is the discovery out in the eastern part of the belt of Snowline Gold's deposit, the Valley deposit, beautiful deposit, great Yukon company. And our deposit that we found, the Blackjack, has garnered a lot of attention as well. So this last year, we increased our program. We're looking at 30,000 meters of drilling. And what resulted out of that drilling, expansion of our 2 known deposits, but we made this new discovery, the Roscobble. Every one of our drill holes hit significant mineralization, over 1.1 kilometers. As I mentioned, we just put out the last results yesterday. I'm not going to list drill results for you. There's a lot of them. Go to our website if I get your attention. Look at our press releases. There's a lot of very consistent results in here. The best hole 10, 235 meters from surface of 1.1 grams per ton gold. And what's really interesting, these granites that stretch across, they're called the Tombstone Tungsten Belt. Tungsten mineralization associated with them. Mac tongue that Fireweed Metals has, they're usually peripheral to these intrusions. We're seeing a lot of tungsten in this Roscobble discovery. An example, hole 2 there, 75 meters of 0.1. That's kind of a low-grade tungsten thing, but this could be a very important byproduct. We just did additional assaying to figure out the best method to assay for tungsten, because it's a different method than assaying for gold. We've just submitted our 32 of our 43 holes for tungsten assaying, over 5,000 samples, so we'll be able to quantify the resource there, not only coming up with an initial mineral resource for the gold, but a little bit later looking at that tungsten byproduct. So again, we worked on drilling additional holes around our known resources, and there's a lot of other exploration targets in there that we've tested as well. We've got $45 million in the treasury, so we're fully funded for 60,000 meters of drilling next year. We've signed up the drill contractor. We're going to produce that initial mineral resource on our new discovery before PDAC here. So a lot of news coming out, and 60,000 meters of drilling bought and paid for. That's a lot of press releases coming up in the next year. There's our stock chart, as Robert mentioned. You know, the steady climb up was based on our drill results. We're going to start drilling in late February here. We have year-round access, only a 2-hour drive out of Dawson City. Then the bump up you can see in there, that's the Roscobble discovery. We've got a lot of institutions that have got in and financed us in the last round. Good analyst coverage with prices anywhere from $1.80 to $3.50. Over 400 million shares out, about over a $400 million market cap. So we're doing very well and looking forward to this next year. There's our location. Actually, Dawson City is just off the map right here. Can land in jets there, drive down the Klondike Highway, and 2 hours later you're into our property. It's only 35 kilometers off. This is Hekla's mine over here, Keno Hill, the Eagle Mine, Banyan, Brewery Creek. It's a pretty prolific part of the Yukon for this belt. Probably over 20 million ounces of gold in that district. Typically, these big, low-grade deposits have been sub-gram. Fort Knox, they're mining 0.3 grams right now. Victoria Gold, when they were operating, their initial resource was about 0.63. They mined it a little higher grade than that. But the Snowline discovery really got people into these can be higher grade. Their grade's 1.25 average. Our Blackjack deposit's a gram. Eiger's a little bit lower. Our Roscobble discovery, we'll see what that grade comes out, but we've got a lot of very nice 1 gram intersections there. So we're pretty confident we'll have a nice grade. So it's really important. You know, Victoria Gold was operating. They were making money. They'd be making a lot of money right now. And you can see that delta that we have over their grade. Here's just a shot of our 2 known deposits, Blackjack and Eiger up in the northern part. And yeah, 40 million tons at a gram in the indicated, another inferred 34 million tons at just under a gram, so 2.3 million ounces. Eiger's a little smaller, little lower grade. So those deposits are up in the northern part of the project. And here's that Roscobble discovery. These pink areas are intrusions, all with known gold mineralization around them. We did some drilling exploration-wise around the Pukaman Contact and the Bear Paw. So really target-rich environment in a pretty confined area. Those are only 5 kilometers apart. So when we look at the topography, those intrusions are all clustered in here, very close together. So any discoveries are going to feed into a central facility. That's just a different view showing those deposits, Blackjack and Eiger up in the north, some exploration targets in the middle, and our new discovery, Roscobble, down in the southern part of the property. So very, very interesting cluster of intrusions with gold mineralization. That's the Roscobble. Here's our 43 drills that holes that we've done. They stretch across 1.1 kilometers. They've all hit significant gold. We haven't closed this off in any direction. So we're going to come up with that initial mineral resource estimate, but we're far from done drilling this off. Just going to show one drill section, shows it starts at surface, the mineralization, and hole 2 has some of those tungsten numbers with it. So the tungsten could be a really interesting byproduct. So if you've never seen scheelite under ultraviolet light, it glows blue. It's almost as pretty as gold, so they're associated with each other at this deposit, both recovered by gravity methods, so a byproduct is certainly a viable target, and we're doing more work on that. That's the footprint to Roscobble. We've barely touched it. We're doing 60,000 meters next year. 30,000 will probably be on this target to really fully test that drill target, that footprint, and then again expand the resource and know how big this is. So it's a big project, 431 square kilometers. We're in the western part. Again, our Blackjack and Eiger deposits up in the north. Those blobs are the resource areas. We've done a bunch of drilling there this year since we put out that resource in January of last year. Hit lots of mineralization outside of the resource area. We haven't fully drilled it off yet. So more work to do there to expand that deposit, and then we'll get an updated resource out on it. This is the Eiger next to it. Again, we've intersected mineralization outside of the current resource area. Metallurgy, we've done bottle roll testing back in the day. on Blackjack and Eiger. We did gravity test work last year. This year we're doing further metallurgical test work, including work on the Rosgobble and then additional work on our other Blackjack and Eiger deposits. So where are we going? De-risking this project. We've got that Rosgobble discovery. We've got one more year of drilling on that to really define it and understand the size. These deposits can typically be upwards. If you look at the Eagle deposit, 5 million ounces, Snowline, 8, Fort Knox, 9 and growing. So a lot of work to do to define this and grow it. We're doing environmental studies. We'll start the engineering studies, PEA, et cetera, in the next year, 2027, and move this towards production eventually. Again, big project area, very target-rich environment. Again, we're early in that Lassonde curve. I mentioned Pierre Lassonde because he's working in the Yukon now with his company Fuerte. Came up and talked to us at our geoscience forum. So we've got more advanced deposits that we're defining. We've got new discoveries and a bunch of things in the pipeline. So that's it. That's my elevator pitch for Sitka Gold. I feel like an auctioneer. And thanks very much.